Hey mamas, are you considering giving birth in the water? Well, today I'm going to give you a birth pool and a box review from a midwife's perspective. But before I begin, my name's Midwife Kyra and I believe in truly natural birth because I know it makes for better birth experiences. Consider subscribing to my channel and joining in today's conversation about birth tubs for your upcoming water birth. So I've been using the birth pool in a box for at least 3 years in my birth center practice, and I absolutely love this pool. I'm going to post it in the description below, a link to the birth pool in a box so you can see other people's reviews of it. So this ugly as sin, very bright blue birth tub is actually one of the best birth tubs I've found on the market. This is the birth pool in a box mini, and this is the birth tub that we use here at my birth center, the Natural Birth House. Right here in this carrying kit, you're going to see the birth pool in a box regular version, and at the end of the video I'm going to give you a size comparison by shoving this one into that one, and let's see how it fits. The birth pool in a box is one of my favorite birth tubs that I've experienced. It is a little bit more pricey when you're coming to a one-use option, but as a midwife or anyone using birth tubs for multiple uses, birth centers or midwives, birth pool in a box has the Eco Pro version, which means that it can be used for multiple uses. Now, one of the first things I like about using this as a midwife is the birth pool actually has a counter on it for the uses. And so you can see here it can be used up to 40 times without having any wear and tear on it. And it really is just a great way to keep track of making sure your birth pool is in its top condition. And so that's actually one of the main differences between the Pro and the regular version. And that's what makes the Pro a little bit more expensive, is that the materials are a lot more durable and better quality, so they can be used for up to those 40 times. So one of the other things I really love about this birth pool is the location of these handles. When you have these handles right here, it's really great because when a mom's relaxing in labor, she can hang on to these handles and float her body like this. Now, as you can imagine, if I was pregnant and in the water, my body would be floating, but mamas can relax like this in the birth tub while they're pushing out their babies. What I like about the mini, in addition to the smaller size, is it is small enough for mamas to bear their feet down at the other end of the tub so they can feel grounded when they're pushing, which is really great when you're in labor. As a midwife, I've seen other birth centers and home births where moms have had a tub so large that they can't reach, and they kind of struggle a little bit when they're pushing, but this prevents that. And so we can hang on like this, and you can see I've been sitting on this awesome seat right here. But when mamas are in labor, usually they don't actually sit on this seat. They will actually put their lower back on this seat to use their buoyancy in labor and kind of float. But also, they can grab here, and they can labor comfortably on the side of the tub like this. The handlebars have little grips in here so you can get a good comfortable grip while you're in labor. And there's 2 of them, which is really awesome. So when you're inflating the birth pool in a box, you have these 3 rings that you can inflate. And one thing that you can do is not inflate this middle ring all the way, and you can actually make it not as tall when you're in labor if you just find that this is just a little bit too tall. But the liner is a perfect fit for this, and so everything just kind of flows together. Handlebars in the front, handlebars in the back, and there's also handlebars right here on the top, which is really great because if a doula or dad are nearby and wanting to give mom some physical support, they can use these comfortable handlebars to support themselves. Or sometimes when moms are reclining in the tub, they may prefer to hang on to these handlebars themselves. But one of my favorite features about this tub, something I never would have thought about had I designed it, is this cup holder right here. And so while mom is reclining in the tub, she can have her drink nearby and be reminded to hydrate during labor. So if that's not a sign that midwives want you to drink instead of stick you with an IV, then I don't know what is. The reason why I choose this very boldly blue birth tub for our birth center is because of how functional it is, and also one of the things that I love about it is that the birth pool in a box comes with an individual liner that you can use that will prevent the risk of cross-contamination. Why have I chosen this instead of one of those really pretty ceramic jetted tubs? And the answer to that is because if you've ever cleaned a jetted tub, you know that they're really hard to clean, and even when they're disinfected, they're really, really gross. Most midwives do not recommend that we would use a jetted birth tub for the birth because of the risk of cross-contamination. Let's go ahead and fill up the big one, and let's squeeze this one inside of it. Step 1, instruction manual. It says that you need to practice filling up this birth pool between 37 and 38 weeks. so that you can familiarize yourself with it. As a midwife, I can tell you that filling this tub is going to take about 45 minutes and some really hot water. So a good tip for you when you're using this at home is to turn up your water heater temperature about 3 weeks before the birth so that you can have the maximal amount of hot water when you're filling this, because it's a lot easier to add cold water than it is to add hot. It says you need to check the floor strength. So this is actually something that happened to us here at the birth house. So when we bought the original birth pool in a box, we didn't take into account the weight that it would have in it when it was filled. Now at the birth house, our building is actually above ground, and an architect had suggested we actually go with the mini version so that even clients with higher BMIs can get into the tub without any risk of damaging your floor or your building. So this is something to consider, because when you've got this massive birth tub filled with water and a person or two, it can definitely get really heavy. So that is something that Birth Pool in a Box recommends as well to take into account. You also want to check the hot water capacity of your heater. At the birth house, we have a 50-gallon tank, and it's definitely plenty enough to fill this tub. At home, you may not have something that large capacity, so you want to make sure you have enough hot water to fill your birth pool in a box. Okay, let's get it set up. So the regular version of the birth pool in a box actually comes with this carrying case. It comes with these two pads, which in my opinion are not quite padded enough to carry the weight of this. I think they could have done a little bit better on the pads, but it's definitely more convenient to carry it like a backpack than it is to carry it around in your arms, which I've done that before too. Okay, this thing is huge. So I got my air pump going. For the birth pool in a box, I use this Coleman electric quick air pump. It works really well, fills this up pretty quickly, and I'm going to link it in the description below in case you guys are looking for a pump for your pool too. Here are the three rings, and you're just going to unscrew them here. I always start with the bottom ring because I like it to hold the birth pool up and kind of keep it stable. Here we go. Now that I have the bottom ring filled up, I'm going to come inside and I'm going to fill up the floor of the birth tub. Now we've filled our seat. So the seat and the floor, the bottom of the birth tub. We have our first ring. So now we're going to finish our other two rings. Now, like I mentioned before, you can adjust the height based on the fullness of the middle ring. So I'm not actually going to fill the middle ring all the way. I'm going to leave it kind of loose for now so I can figure out how tall I want it afterward. Here's the top ring. So I like my top ring nice and firm because I want my mamas to be able to use these awesome handlebars without any worry. Now this is the full one, and it is huge. I haven't filled this up in over a year, so I forget how big this thing is. So where the small one comes up to probably my knees, the big one comes up to almost the bottom of my pelvis. So let's try and fit the small one into the big one, see how it goes. Let's see if we can fit it in there. Oh man, so close. All right, so I'm gonna line up my handles. And now you can see the difference between the Birth Pool in a Box Mini, which is this one right here on top. And you still have some space here. And here's the regular version. So I personally think the Birth Pool in a Box Mini is the better way to go when it's coming to a birth. Like I said, you can put your feet in the bottom of it and really be grounded during your labor. But if you're planning on having Dad in the tub at any time during the labor, or if you just want something a little larger, now we have this regular size, which is much bigger in my opinion. So I've been using the Birth Pool in a Box for at least 3 years in my birth center practice, and I absolutely love this pool. Why don't you go ahead, and I'm going to post it in the description below, a link to the Birth Pool in a Box so you can see other people's reviews of it, and so you can see the dimensions if you're trying to figure out the difference between the mini and the regular. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next Midwife Monday. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.